Hello, everyone. So, we're here with another virtual session of InfoSec Girls. So, today we have Aarushi Koolwal. She is a second year BTech CSE student from VIT Bhopal, and she will walk us through the threat intelligence, giving us an overview with the reference to the present security needs. She is also a cybersecurity enthusiast and a learning, and she has taken several initiatives to put in many non-cyber people into this domain to walk them more into the fields. So over to you, Arushi.
Thanks for the introduction, Fatima. So I will be sharing my screen. Yeah. So as Fatima has already introduced me, I am from VID Bhopal. I am a second year undergrad student, and my recent field of study is threat intelligence. And I will be presenting on it today. My topic is an overview with reference to the present security needs. Now, before I begin, I will make it clear that I am just a learner right now, right? And yeah, and I can make mistakes. I'm still learning about the domain, so forgive me if I make mistakes. I have no expert in this field. Yeah. So yeah. So, what is threat intelligence? Now, threat intelligence is the analysis of data using tools and techniques to generate meaningful information about existing or emerging threats, targeting the organization that helps mitigate risks. Now, in threat intelligence, we basically analyze some data and we search about the existing or emerging threats, and we help to mitigate the risks before any cyber attack happens. It's like prevention is better than cure, right? So we take all the possible measures to secure the system before any attack occurs. So it helps organizations make faster, more informed security decisions and change their behavior from reactive to proactive to combat the attacks. So, we need to invest our resources in such a way that, we get more productivity. Not all the resources of the company can be invested into security, right? So, more informed and faster security decisions through threat intelligence are a great way for to secure the enterprise or the company or any system, right? So next up is cyber threat intelligence. Now, it is the knowledge that allows you to prevent or mitigate cyber attacks by studying the threat data and provide information on the adversaries. So we study the specific data, that how a threat, what is a threat and how it can be exploited and all, and it provides information on the adversaries, the bad actors, the rivals, right? And we identify, prepare, and prevent attacks by providing information on the attackers, their motives, and their capabilities. So we do a thorough analysis of how any attack can occur if possible, right? We will be talking about a scenario, data breach scenario. By this example, I will explain how important threat intelligence is for the security of a firm, right? So, a US cybersecurity firm, FireEye, it's a famous one, spotted that a hacker by the name Fallen Sky 519 stole the data of 6.8 million users from an Indian healthcare website. Not a tech firm, not a normal enterprise, a healthcare website in February. So it did not disclose the name of the unfortunate victim, but did point to who might be responsible: hackers based in China. Now, numerous instances of healthcare associated database was sold in underground forums between October 2019 to March 2019, at times for less than $2,000. Now, the investigation also revealed that the bad actors had stolen patient information, doctor information, and many personal details like name, contact numbers, addresses. Now, this India and China thing about a healthcare website is now a bit more understandable, but earlier it would not have been. Like a year back, it would not have been. So, an Indian healthcare firm. Now, how much will a healthcare firm invest in its in cybersecurity, right? Very less, because it has to spend on its drug efficiency and all that, right? So if an Indian healthcare website can be can be attacked by the hackers based in literally China now, so any firm, any tech firm or any non-technical firm can be attacked. And if the Indian healthcare firm that was attacked had threat intelligence, they would have already been informed about this attack can happen. Yes. So we are already informed, and the loss can be reduced, and the information like phone numbers, if anyone gets these many phone numbers from the database, we all know what use it can do, right? So yes, to prevent such a scenario for any enterprise, threat intelligence is important. So we, if we want to know something, we go through its life cycle, right? So threat intelligence life cycle is a process to transform the raw data into finished intelligence for decision making and action. Now, it provides a framework to enable teams to optimize their resources and effectively respond to the modern threat landscape. So it contains of 6 steps, of course, starting with the requirement stage. Now, it is crucial to the threat intelligence life cycle because we set a roadmap from it to a specific threat intelligence operation. We ask the questions. Asking questions in any problem is very important. Who the attackers are, what are their motives, what do they want from the company, what is the attack surface, which vulnerability they are trying to exploit. Now, which specific actions should be taken to strengthen their defense against a future attack. So suppose an attack has already occurred, suppose there is a ransomware attack on the CEO system, right? So now they will look upon what steps should be taken that such an attack can be prevented in the near future, right? So after we lay out the requirements, now the team sets out to collect the information required to satisfy those objectives, right? So depending on the goals, we seek out traffic logs, publicly available data sources, then forums, social media, industry, or subject matter experts. So once we have collected the data, it needs to be processed into a format suitable for analysis, right? We need to get it in a good format, right? So most of the time, this entails organizing data points into spreadsheets. Then we decrypt the files, translate information from the foreign sources, evaluate data for how relevant it is and how reliable it is. And after we process the data, the team should conduct thorough analysis to find answers to the questions posed in the requirements phase. Now, during the analysis phase, the team also works to decode the data set into action items and valuable recommendations for the stakeholders. So, analyzing the problem, going into the depth of the problem. So, recommendations for the stakeholders. Now, who are the stakeholders? So, in a company, from the threat analyst to the chief information security officers, they all are the stakeholders, right? And stakeholders lay a very important value in the threat intelligence lifecycle. Dissemination. Now, this phase requires the threat intelligence team to translate the analysis into a digestible format and present the results to the stakeholders, right? So the presentation of the analysis depends on the audience, right? So whatever you present, it depends on the audience. If the audience understand all the technical things, you you present it accordingly, right? So in most cases, the recommendation should be that it should be present concisely without confusing technical terms, like a one-page report or a short slide deck, right? Yeah. And the last stage, of course, is the feedback stage, and we get the feedback from the stakeholders. We on the provided report to determine where the adjustments need to be made for the further threat intelligence operations, right? And stakeholders may have to change their priorities, the frequency at which they wish to receive the reports, or how it should be presented. So feedback is important because we do the work, and then the team should know, for any possible changes and any type of change, right, for the next report. So this was the life cycle of the threat intelligence. And here we come to the three categories of threat intelligence, that is tactical, operational, and strategic. Now, the categories are differentiated because of the on the basis of the intended audience, and how do they influence the firm, how do they influence the security of the firm, right? And action to determine the threat intelligence category. So it targets the various levels of the organizations and informs them appropriately to maximize the impact, targeting each layer so that we maximize the impact. Yeah. So first we will go with tactical threat intelligence. So I have, made it through a real life example. Like tactical is the mechanic one, operational is the car driver level, and strategic is the owner level. So first we are at the tactical threat intelligence, right? So obtain a broader perspective of the threats in order to combat the underlying problem. Again, if we have any problem, we need to broaden our vision, right? We need to see what all possibilities can be, right? So this is the goal: obtain a broader perspective. Then we focus on performing malware analysis and enrichment, and we ingest atomic, static, and behavioral threat indicators into the defensive cybersecurity systems. So of course it is the easiest type of intelligence to generate because it is almost automated. A simple antivirus that we have for our system can also detect, the malwares if we are mistakenly installing any, right? So it is almost automated process, and the stakeholders here are SOC analyst, SIEM, firewall, the intrusion detect, the IDS or IPS, that is intrusion detection system. Yeah. So moving on to the next level, we have operational threat intelligence. The goal of this level is to engage in campaign tracking and active profiling to gain a better understanding of the adversaries behind the attacks. So if we are focused on understanding adversarial capabilities, infrastructure, and TTPs. Now, what are the TTPs? Tactics, techniques, and procedures, and then leveraging and understanding to conduct more targeted and prioritized cybersecurity operations, most useful for the the SOC, right? So I will give an example. There is a tech firm based in a small city in India, and then so it requires different level of security. It requires different, the vulnerabilities to be taken into care. But if we talk about a big firm like Amazon in the USA, now it requires a whole new level of cybersecurity, right? And a whole new level of measures to be taken. So operational threat intelligence looks after the tactics, techniques, and procedures for every and the targeted and prioritized cybersecurity operations for every level of organization, right? So the stakeholders here will be threat hunter, SOC analyst, vulnerability management, incident response, and the insider threat. Nice. So the last level is the strategic threat intelligence. Now it is the hardest one to generate. And here is the reason why. That is because it places threat into a business context and describes strategic impact, informing risk management and organizational direction. So, in this level of threat intelligence, we are trying to make business level security decisions, right, on a high level. And all the high level stakeholders are considered. The chief information security officer, the chief information officer, the chief technical officer, the executive board, and strategic intel, right? So we focus on understanding the high level trends and adversarial motives, the motives of the the enemies, the bad actors, and then leveraging that understanding to engage in strategic security and business decision making. And hence, it is the hardest form to generate, right? So here I have a graph to show that with the level of threat intel capability increasing, the difficulty increases. We go from automated malware analysis to threat research, campaign tracking, insider threat. right? So with each level, the level of difficulty increases. And which cases are relevant to you? It depends on which cases are relevant to you. We focus that level. Okay. So this is for the levels. Now using threat intelligence. Now, one example that I would like to take is that threat intelligence is very similar to a current scenario. So to the current scenario, I mean. So there is this advertisement of Akshay Kumar telecasting on the television, in which he says that if you take all the possible precautions, then you cannot catch this disease. This disease will not affect you. And it is the same with threat intelligence, I will say. We all know 100% security is a myth, but if we already take all the precautions, we look after all the vulnerabilities, all the possible vulnerabilities, all the existing and developing threats and developing attacks, types of attacks. If we take a look to all of them, then there is a very, very, very less chance of a cybersecurity attack, security attack happening to your company or your firm or your system, right? So using the threat intelligence now, when appropriately used, it will reduce the harm to the organization because it increases the effectiveness of every component. You see, we target every level, we target every small detail. So it increases the effectiveness of every component, ultimately decreasing the mean time to recovery, right? So if already a threat has occurred and then we try to look upon it, now it will require more time and more resources, more money, right? And more time to recover. But if we already take into care, yeah, this is the this is the vulnerability patch, this is the patch that can be targeted by the actors and bad actors, and attack can happen. So there will be less time of recovery. And in operational networks and reducing the adversary dwell time, the dwell time of the attackers in traditional information technology environments. Yeah, so components of an effective defense. So, threat intelligence detailing adversary operations enables detection through threat behavior analytics, in addition to the um, individual technical indicators which have a short lifespan. This is how we detect a threat, right? We all the technical indicators which have a short lifespan, we look after them. We have a detailing adversary option, detailing the attacker options, and we look detect all the types of attacks that we can see in our arena. So then we have respond, right? So after we have detected the threats, we have to respond to it. Threat intelligence inform incident response. Now incident response is almost like it is for computers what reflects actions is for humans, right? We come too near something, some fire, we move away, right? So it's same with the computers and incident response. If there is some incident, it already has the algorithm that how it will work if this specific incident occurs, right? So it's directly correlated with a quicker and more complete threat remediation because the responders begin with base knowledge. A speedier remediation means quicker time to recovery and reducing the adversary dwell time where business can return to normal more quickly and reduced impact. As we already discussed that, we speedier remediation, speedier recovery, reduced impact, everything, and it affects the company less in a overall manner, right? So, of course, the last step is prevent. Now, properly used threat intelligence can prevent harm in many cases. Almost we cover like a lot of cases. The knowledge of the threat environment and adversary operational behaviors can broadly inform proactive protection and prevention activities. All the types of protection and prevention activities are taken into care. So this was it. Now I will be discussing some interesting security trends in business. Okay. So as we all know, threats are escalating at an ever increasing rate. As 62% of the business reporting phishing and social engineering attacks in 2018. Now, this is a survey by Cyber Solutions 2019. And there is another study which tells us that a hacker attack occurs in USA every 39 seconds on average. So this is from the Security Magazine 2017. And in two-thirds of the business leaders, that is 68%, believe their cybersecurity risks are increasing. They agree to the fact that cybersecurity risks are increasing day by day. and data breaches that exposed, and as a result of all these data breaches that exposed 4.1 billion records in the first half of 2019. In just 6 months, 4.1 billion records were exposed through the data breaches. And then this is no new thing. That Gartner forecast in August 2018 told that worldwide security would be spending approximately $134 billions in 2022 just on security. $134 billion, a whopping amount of sum. So now you know how important security of any firm is, ranging from a small firm to a large techie like Amazon or Facebook or Twitter, right? So now I will be starting with the need of CTI in business. So now CTI is no longer just for large and well-funded organizations like it was 20 years back, right? Things have changed now. With increasing use of internet, with increasing use of online platforms, it goes both the ways, right? The good people who work legally come and the illegal ones come hand in hand, right? So it is now required to be an overall component of mitigation strategies for all businesses that operate with this evolving technological environment. We are changing day by day. The vulnerabilities are changing day by day. Every single thing, technological aspect of them is changing day by day. So we need to change our security measures day by day. The goal behind threat intelligence services is provide the organization with the ability to become aware, recognize, and act upon the attack indicators, and then comprise scenarios in a timely manner, protect against zero-day threats and APTs. Now, APTs are advanced persistent threats. What happens in such types of attacks that suppose there is a hacker, he will try to gain a foothold in the system, right? Like he will go through the intrude the system and will observe the activities of the system, and after observing for a long time, then it will attack the system, right? So that is what advanced persistent threats are about and other exploits, right? So reasons why CTI matters to a firm. So every firm needs CTI, right? So reducing the risk, of course, we reduce this risk by a large extent, because again, 100% security is a myth. It is not possible as 100% efficiency is a myth. But if we reduce the risks to the minimum, we can save a lot of money. It's like sustainable investing, I will say, that we invest the money on the right things. We can't suppose if there is a ransomware attack, we can't waste all the money on the the security of the enterprise, on the recovering from the attack, and that the whole staff has to recover from that attack, right? So we prevent the financial losses, of course. We maximize the staffing efficiency, investing wisely in your infrastructure, and lowering the expenses. Now, all of these points are explained in just one, right? So I will take an example of the recent, the hacker-based activity of Twitter, where the accounts, Twitter handles of the famous personalities like Elon Musk, Bill Gates were hacked, and the hacker tweeted from their accounts that invest this much Bitcoin in this account, and you will get three times or two times in return, right? And people trust these personalities, so they invested in it. So what happened next was it came into knowledge that the account was hacked, right? So with this, the security system of Twitter was questioned. If the Twitter handles of such big personalities, such tycoons can be hacked, what is it with mine and yours accounts? It can easily be hacked, right? So we are not at all safe on the internet, on social media, nowhere. But same as the coronavirus, we are not safe in any environment, right? So but we can take all the possible precautions, we can take all the possible security measures and reduce the risk by the greatest extent possible, right? So in the conclusion, I will say, for industrial control networks, the impact of a cybersecurity incident can mean millions of business losses. People, if there is a attack on some system, like the recent attack I have seen was on the Z5 streaming platform. So people, stop believing in that firm. People reduce the usage. Okay. So what happened in Z5 was that customer information was exposed. around 1 million customer information was exposed, right? So people lose their belief in the organization, right? And millions of business losses, of course, that comes in as a consequence, reputational damage and environmental disaster or loss of life. Hence, the diligent application of high quality threat intelligence is now an absolute necessity. Now, 20 years back, I will say car was a luxury and not a necessity, but now it is a necessity, right? We all need cars to travel for long distances, right? Going out of town. So it's same with the threat intelligence scenario that we need it, right? We need it. It is a necessity. We cannot compromise on the security of a firm, so we need it. Yeah, that was it for my session. Thank you, and I will take any questions if they are there.
Thank you so much, Arushi. I'll just check if you have any questions.